burglary tourism might just be enough to make some of the bluest wealthy zip codes turn red. At least for now in these upcoming elections. Who knows how long it'll last after that. And that's because the LAPD is launching a new task force to track down these foreign gangs, which use 90-day tourist visas to fly to America, rob wealthy homes in multi-million-dollar areas, and then they either flee back to South America or, if they're caught, they wait until they're released on bail to make their escape. And then rinse, wash, repeat. Who's checking IDs anyways? Most of these criminals are coming from Chile, Ecuador, Colombia, and Peru. And the dirty little secret as to why so many wealthy types love to virtue signal about open borders, as we've seen ad nauseum, and why they were so willing to look the other way when it was us less wealthy Americans who were being preyed upon by these supposed newcomers. It's because they make money off the whole scheme. They get cheap labor for nanny duties or for gardeners. I mean, there's a reason why Kelly Osbourne and Jerry Nadler said what they did, if you know what I'm referring to. And if these wealthy libs made their millions through giant corporations, well, it's also nice for them to be able to lay off American workers so that they can hire much cheaper foreign options. And now Tyson Foods is facing a boycott for exactly that, after announcing last week the closure of a pork plant in Iowa, killing a large number of jobs in a small town of only 7,800 people, about 1,300 jobs to be exact. Well, the head of the company's social efforts division thought it would be a good idea to do an interview with Bloomberg Law under the headline, "Tyson is hiring New York immigrants for jobs no one else wants." And don't be fooled when they say immigrants do the jobs that Americans just won't do. Data disproves it every time. What they mean by that is that Americans won't do those jobs at third world level wages, unlike third worlders. Americans with a family to feed and a mortgage to pay expect a decent wage for their manual labor. Companies don't want to pay a decent wage because it cuts into their profits, and so they talk about what amazing humanitarians they are and wanting to import an entirely new employee base who won't ask too many questions and won't ask for too much. And so Tyson is now joining the Tent Partnership for Refugees, so they can look good in the public eye while ruthlessly contributing to declining living standards among us regular Americans. But again, too much of a supposed good thing, at least in their eyes, can be a bad thing. And so while they open up the pipeline for illegals, they got too many, too fast, over 10 million I've heard now, and now the wealthy neighborhoods are starting to be ransacked too. And since many welfare recipients, read Democrat voters, in big blue cities are likewise complaining about their benefits being taken over by illegals, then perhaps the leftist coalition of high and low may be fraying too much to salvage come November. Now, before I turn things over to our first guest tonight, I think it's also worth pointing out that the Supreme Court is indefinitely upholding the stay placed on Texas being able to empower state officials to arrest and detain suspected illegal aliens. The stay will last until a final decision can be made on emergency appeals made by the Biden administration. But what I find truly interesting is that once again, the Biden administration is all bent out of shape over Texas trying to defend itself. And I think, once again, that Texas should defy the feds on this one too. But also think of this. Have you heard about the Biden administration trying to mount a challenge to what that federal judge in Illinois just did, where she ruled to allow an illegal alien to carry a gun on Second Amendment grounds, despite state law barring illegal aliens from doing just that? I thought federal judges, especially in Illinois, and the Biden administration itself all hated guns. Well, obviously they don't. But what they do hate is patriotic Americans who they see as threats to their power owning guns. So we're not allowed to. But illegals, well, that's all fine and dandy. The more anarcho-tyranny, the better. Joining us now to discuss all this and more is Todd Benson, a senior national security fellow at the Center for Immigration Studies. Todd, thanks for being here tonight.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Great. So you've been one of the best researchers, of course, on this beat of the border crisis. So I want to ask you if these inherent contradictions within the left wing's framework of open borders could truly imperil their election chances come this November. Of course, that's the big question on everybody's mind. Could this border crisis really sink Democrats in November?
All the polling is showing that Americans on both sides, this isn't really, it is a little bit partisan because fewer Democrats than Republicans hate this, but plenty of Democrats hate this.